Hello everyone, and welcome to my Duel Today official news channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. The spoilers for Monday, January 1's episode of Days of Our Lives indicate that Paulina Price raised some eyebrows when she declined champagne for her intimate celebration with Aide Carver. Paulina reported experiencing some unusual symptoms and following Kayla Johnson's advice to avoid alcohol. But she really just wanted to enjoy herself on New Year's Eve. Paulina brushed down her health concerns, but Aide eventually convinced her that she had a tumor in her neck and that her tests indicated she was hypothyroid. Though Paulina got upset and didn't want Aide to feel sorry for her, she mentioned getting a biopsy done in case it was cancer. Paulina actually attempted to persuade Aide to go since she was uncomfortable with her spouse treating her like a stranger at the moment. Abe touched Paulina with his statement of love and kissed her, knowing that he would not let the lady he loved go through this alone. When the police arrived outside the bistro, they saw Tate Black hunched over Holly Jonas, who was unconscious. Tate covered the pill bag on the ground with his sneaker while maintaining that he had no idea what Holly had taken. Tate tucked the baggie into his jacket pocket while the officer was away. As Brady Black approached Tate to question him about what had transpired, Tate showed him Holly's drug bag. Tate gave up the remaining tablets after the police coerced him into doing so. Rafe Hernandez and Harris Michaels at the Salem Police Department were irritated by the volume of overdose calls they were receiving on Monday's episode of Days. A call about another one came in, so Harris and Rafe rushed down to the bistro to look into it. Holly was brought to the trauma room at the hospital after being attended to by paramedics in the interim. Rafe called Nicole DeMira after realizing Holly was the victim and provided some horrifying updates. Nicole and E.J. DeMira made love in the DeMira home during Monday's DOL show, and then they talked about Holly's 2:00 a.m. curfew. Nicole was hoping to stay up late with Holly to find out how her night went, but shortly after, she received a horrifying call from Rafe regarding Holly's overdose. Tate was inconsolable in the hospital. Tate recounted how Holly had given him drugs and had stormed out to the ladies' room when he had refused her, while Brady had pressed him to tell him all that had happened. Tate stated he went outside to seek for Holly later and discovered her to be unconscious. Brady appeared concerned at Tate's reaction, thinking he was in serious trouble. Alex Kyriakis, who was there with Theresa Donovan, confided to her that he believed Tate had also been using. But because she educated her son to refuse drugs and believed she understood him better than Alex, Theresa lost her temper and screamed at Alex. Theresa pressed Alex to go home and let her handle things with Brady because this was a family matter. Then, in the Monday's Days episode, Tripp Johnson attended to Holly and had to perform chest compressions when her vital signs began to decline. Nicole entered a terrifying scene and had to be escorted out of the room as the crash cart was brought in to break Holly's heart. Although Tripp managed to bring Holly back to consciousness, he still had awful news for Nicole since Holly had become unconscious and was on a ventilator. Nicole went back to Holly's bedside and sobbed while lulling her to sleep. Reunited with Harris, he questioned Ava and Stefan, but they maintained that they had not witnessed any drug-related activity at the bistro. A call from Statesville was received after Stefan and Ava were inside by themselves. Stefan thought Clyde Weston was the one phoning him as it was too late for Gabby Hernandez DeMira, the actress who was last seen as Camila Banas, to be getting in touch. In the Monday episode of Days, Tripp provided Rafe with additional information while he was at the hospital. Rafe approached Tripp, Brady, and Theresa and offered Tate a lawyer after reading a document outlining his rights as a child. Brady maintained that since Tate had done nothing illegal, he didn't require one. Tate said he was willing to continue speaking with Rafe when the latter asked. As soon as Tate claimed that Holly owned the pills, a furious EJ arrived and shot that theory down, saying he didn't think his stepdaughter was into drugs. Days of Our Lives spoilers indicate that because of all the uncertainty and rewrites over the years, John Black's background has always been a crazy ride. Recently, the writers of Duo decided on a narrative that had John and his father, Timothy Robichaud's, getting back together. Even if John's story with his father has a happy conclusion, there is still more to learn about his past and the memories that remain unresolved. We've produced a recap of The Pawn for you so that you may anticipate John's forthcoming day's tale, featuring Steve Johnson and Konstantin Milionis. After undergoing facial reconstruction surgery, a mystery man with amnesia appeared in Salem at the end of 1985, shrouded in bandages. Victor Kiriakis received the man, dubbed the Pawn, but Victor wasn't the only one hoping to get hold of him. The mystery man, who was connected to Stefano de Mira, was the subject of a power struggle. It would turn out that the Pawn was a highly sought-after, brainwashed assassin. Steve played a major role in that scenario, having discovered the Pawn walking around after he had fled while still wearing his bandages. In the December 21 episode of The Days, Steve thought back on that period of time and concluded that the Pawn didn't appear like the deadly asset everyone was making him up to be, but like a lost puppy. Drake Hodgeston made his acting debut as the Pawn and gave the character a true face once 1986 got underway and the bandages came off. The Pawn removed the name John Black from a memorial wall, but in the end, it was determined that he was Roman Brady, who was at the time thought to be dead. The Roman twist was reversed by a day's rewrite, which led John to regain his identity later on. Many revisions have been made throughout the years, but what matters most is now the events that transpired prior to the Pawn being in Salem. When it comes to that portion of his past, John still lacks the puzzle pieces. John expressed gratitude that Victor was buried with the mysteries of his history, having just spoken of taking them with him. Nevertheless, it's evident that they're not that hidden after all, as Konstantin can identify John by sight. John's memory gaps will be filled in, possibly in some terrible ways, as a result of Konstantin's relationship with Victor coming into play and resulting in some astounding disclosures. Keep an eye out for additional details about John's background, as the Pawn has spoilers on Days of Our Lives indicate he may receive updates on some shocking events. Alex received a gift from Maggie across the room. Maggie said, "Something I think you'd like to have." There was Victor's watch inside the box, the one that Victor's father inherited. He treasured it too. Maggie added, "I know he would like you to have it." Alex thanked Maggie, moved. Following the family's video conversation with Sunny and the family in New Zealand, Maggie informed the gathering that she had also had a conversation with Philip and Hope earlier that day. "Is there any change with Beau?" with Sarah asking. "It seems not. He is unaware that his father has passed away," Maggie remarked. "Merry Christmas, everyone." Konstantin burst into the silent room. Maggie threw Konstantin a party invitation. "Maggie, I came to say goodbye and to give you a gift," Konstantin remarked. Konstantin clarified that he was planning to depart that evening by plane. When Maggie unwrapped the gift, a tablecloth was visible. "It's not Saxton's property. It's entirely manufactured by hand in Greece," Konstantin declared. "I will always treasure it," Maggie remarked. "You shouldn't have spent or gone to so much trouble." Thanks to Maggie, Konstantin didn't have to worry about the cost. Maggie invited Konstantin to remain for dinner when he acknowledged that his flight wasn't leaving for a few hours. The other members of the family looked at each other with scowls. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, so please don't forget to subscribe my channel and don't miss any update.